Should you dine at the 50's Primetime Cafe or the Sci Fi Dine In? Today, these two restaurants are going head to head in the ultimate showdown to see which is better. I'll be judging each restaurant on the food, the service, and the theming to see who comes out on top. Hollywood Studios is notorious for not having the best dining offerings, but there are two restaurants that stand out, and not necessarily for the food, but for the experience. And the question, should I dine at Sci-Fi or Primetime, is often asked. Today, I'll be answering that question for you. I'll be dining at both restaurants, having my server bring me the most popular appetizer, entree, and dessert at each. I'll be ranking the service, theming, and food at each out of 10, and we'll crown a winner at the end. First up, 50's Primetime. As soon as you step foot into 50's Primetime, you are transported back to the 50's. Everything from the wallpaper, the old TVs, the decor on the walls, it all brings you back. And you're also immediately immersed in the stories. I actually got to get my elbows off the table here. They give you all the rules, the rundown of being here in Mom's house.
These are the rules. We're going to sit up nice and straight, feet towards the floor, elbows off the table. No fuss and fighting, moaning, groaning, or whining. You're at Disney World on a Wednesday. What could you possibly whine about?
That's true.
And my most favorite rule of the 1950s. Did you know in the 1950s they made the kids do all the work? So kiddos, set the table. I'll be back, and remember, I'm watching. Always watching.
There are so many little trinkets placed around the restaurant. It's really fun to kind of take a look back. I do remember a couple of these things or some things similar being in my grandma's house back in the day. So you'll definitely be taking a step back in time. And if you're lucky, you'll even get to sit by one of the old TVs. That's usually if you're a party of about 3 or 4, you'll be able to sit right next to one of the TVs. They'll play kind of clips from old movies and that kind of thing. It's just really fun. I absolutely love the theming in here. It's one of the main things that keeps me coming back to this restaurant because I don't think the food is the best. Let's take a look at the menu. We've got the fan favorite peanut butter and jelly milkshake right up top. Pro tip, you can add some vanilla vodka or any type of alcohol to this, and I highly recommend it. It's really good for appetizers. We've got pretty basic stuff. I mean, they've got onion rings. This cornbread skillet is new, but nothing really stand out anymore. They got rid of my favorite appetizer, the fried cheese, so I'm a little salty about that. And then as far as entrees goes, it's pretty much just American classics. You could get fried chicken, pot roast, salmon, Caesar salad, chicken, pot pie. And then they also have a sampler where you can get fried chicken, pot roast, and meatloaf. But today, what I am eating is completely out of my hands. I let my server know, bring me the most popular appetizer, entree, and dessert. I also told her not to let me know what she's bringing me, so it's gonna be a surprise. You guys will find out with me. And what a good surprise it is. This is the cornbread skillet served with butter and honey for $10. This is honestly the appetizer that I was hoping for because it's brand new to the menu. It just debuted on the menu just a couple of weeks ago. And she let me know that the cornbread and the onion rings are tied for the most popular and the best appetizers on the menu, but she brought me the cornbread. She settled on that because she said it's new and I might want to try it. So I'm very happy with the decision here. We've got our side of butter and honey, and I feel like the best way to go about this is kind of just dump it all right on there, right? Let the butter kind of melt into the cornbread. This is the way. Now that our cornbread is glistening with honey butter, let's cut ourselves off a piece and try it out. This is some good cornbread. This is probably actually the most moist cornbread I've ever had. Sometimes when you get cornbread, it's a little bit too dry. This is not the case here. And I don't necessarily mind a dry cornbread, but this is particularly good. It's really nice and warm, and that honey kind of like caramelized on the top, delicious. I would definitely get the...
Eat your food before it gets cold.
I ate the cornbread, it was good. Okay, but for real, I would definitely order this again, and I would definitely recommend you guys try it out. It's a great new addition to the menu. And for our entree, we definitely got something that is not new to the menu. This is the sampling of Mom's favorite recipes. This has golden fried chicken, fork tender pot roast, and traditional meatloaf with all the fixins for $30. This is definitely a good option and something that I get usually, I'd say most of the time when I come here, or I just get a plate of fried chicken because that's my favorite thing on the sampler. But let's dig into this.
There's people in there. Where are they? I don't see them. How big are they? If
they're in the TV. Meatloaf first, and this has a little bit of a ketchup glaze, but then I also like how they poured the gravy over kind of everything. Let's try it out. It's a solid meatloaf. The ketchup on the outside gives it a little bit of a sweetness. I enjoy it. It's not my favorite because I don't love meatloaf, but it's really good. Speaking of gravy, let's go for this pot roast next, and it's definitely fork tender, I'll tell you that. The meat itself is a little bit dry and flavorless. The gravy is kind of where all the action is at here. It has a good oniony flavor, and I appreciate how they keep the whole pearl onions in this dish, so you could kind of eat it all together. Like I said, it gives it a little bit more flavor that I think it needs. We are going to save the best for last, which is of course the fried chicken. So let's get into these mashed potatoes. Kind of all sticking together, and they do have the skins in them. They look to be red skin potatoes, which I do enjoy in a mashed potato. Could use a little bit of salt, but overall, they're mashed potatoes. And these green beans look extra buttery. We'll try them out too. And now the fried chicken. Just a piece of the skin for crunch factor. Now for my fried chicken, they did give me a chicken breast, which usually I would say would probably be a little bit bigger. This one is not very large, and the chicken inside is pretty dry. I do like the flavor of the batter. It's a little bit peppery, but overall it's a little bit dry. And it's definitely not the best fried chicken. It's good, it passes, but it could be a bit better. And for dessert, we've got another win. This is the peanut butter and jelly milkshake for $9.25. I don't know if she's reading my mind or what, because if I were to order dessert, this is exactly what I would have picked here. I know I usually have a lot of complaints about Disney World milkshakes, specifically the ones from Hollywood Scoops here in Hollywood Studios, but this is not included in this list. This is a very good hand-spun milkshake. It's more on the peanut butter side than jelly. I don't really taste much jelly at all. I kind of do wish they swirled a little bit of fresh jam in here. I feel like that would be really good. But the shake is very, very thick. And if you like peanut butter, this is a must order. If you don't like peanut butter, they also have a chocolate, a vanilla, or a strawberry shake. All right, we have officially finished our lunch at prime time. We've talked about the theming so far. We've talked about the food so far. Now let's talk about the service. I will say the service is definitely not for everyone. This is one of those restaurants where the servers kind of mess with you a little bit. They get really involved, they get really into the story, which is something that I really like. To me personally, that kind of thing makes or breaks an experience for me. I think that kind of service is something that's so unique to Disney and so unique to 50's Primetime. I have very fond memories going to 50's Primetime as a kid with my cousins, my sisters, our whole families, and just having a blast there. I remember our waiter would mess with us and make us set the table, make you eat all your vegetables. And one time I remember them even making us bring our plates back to the kitchen to clean up and stuff. I just remember having so much fun there. And I feel like when I go to a restaurant like that, I want that kind of service. Now there is a chance you might go there and you might get a server that's kind of not as into it. My server today was fantastic and fully into the story, kind of immersed me even more into the experience of being in the 50's. As soon as we sat down, she kind of gave us the ground rules, and something that I really liked that she did was she pulled up a chair and sat with each table as she was taking their drink order and kind of introducing herself. And she spent a lot of time with each table. And that kind of personalized service is something that I really, really enjoy, like I said. It can be a little uncomfortable for a party of one to do that. It was a little bit uncomfortable. It's definitely more fun if you're with other people. So I definitely understand how some people might not enjoy that. I know a lot of people might give them anxiety and stuff, and I totally understand that. But for me, I like it. But now it's time to give you guys my final rankings out of 10 for all three of our categories. For food at 50's Primetime, I am giving it a 6 out of 10. While not necessarily bad, I think the food at Primetime is pretty average. There are a lot of other better sit-down restaurants. I don't know about better sit-down restaurants in this park because I think the food lacks a lot here in Hollywood Studios. But in terms of your regular table service dining in Hollywood Studios, I think the food just ranks as pretty average, maybe just a bit below average. That's why I put it as a 6. There are a couple of standout items like some of the things I had today, but overall it's good. It's okay. It's nothing spectacular. For service at 50's prime time, I am giving it a 9 out of 10. I subtracted a point just because I'm taking into account that it might not be for everyone. The service for me was very personalized and I really enjoyed it as usual. And for theming of the restaurant, I am giving 50's prime time also a 9 out of 10. I feel like the experience could be upped a little bit if you're seated at a table with a TV directly attached to it. That's why I kind of subtracted a point, but overall, the theming is super immersive. It kind of ties in with the service. When both combined, they create a really good, immersive, overall themed experience, and I like it. That's why I'm giving it a 9 out of 10. 24 points out of 30 for 50's prime time. Now let's go see how Sci Fi stacks up. We have made it to the car, and the setup is crazy. We've got the snack bar right in the back. And yeah, I haven't sat in one of these cars in quite a long time, and this is a lot of the big draw of dining here. Everyone is kind of seated in these cars, and it's set up almost like a drive-in style movie, so you've got a movie screen right in front, playing all types of old movies, old TV shows, old commercials, kinds of little clips similar to what they were playing on the primetime TVs. These are arguably the coolest tables at any Disney restaurant. You can see all the cars kind of lined up behind me, and it is kind of quiet in here, so I'm gonna try and hold the mic close to my face so I don't have to talk too loudly. I'm gonna try and talk softly. We'll see how this goes. A lot of the cars are set up so you're seated two next to each other, and they can't really accommodate large parties because of that. It's just a car with 3 rows and then 2 seats in the middle, 2 seats in the front, 2 seats in the middle, and then 2 seats in the back. They do have a couple of card tables that are a little bit different, but for the most part, that's kind of how they're set up. And kind of similarly to primetime, the ambiance is fantastic, but I'm not the biggest fan of the food. We will take a look over the menu here, though. We've got our appetizers, see some fried pickles, nachos, wings, Caesar salad, and some onion rings. Pretty simple, pretty small menu. And then for the most part, the entrees are burgers. They have a bunch of different specialty burgers. You can see they have a barbecue burger, classic, the feature film burger, which I believe today is pastrami, banh mi, a chicken sandwich, grilled chicken salad, and pasta. The pasta's kind of the outlier here. Just like at prime time, I told my waiter, bring me the most popular appetizer, entree, and dessert. We're gonna try all 3 of the most popular things. However, he did let me know that the most popular appetizer they are unfortunately out of right now, the fried pickles, which is unfortunate because I love pickles. I love fried pickles. So he said he's gonna bring me the second most popular appetizer, and then we'll be on track with the entree and dessert. And just like primetime, I'm not sure what they are, and I won't know what he's bringing me until it comes to the table. It looks like our first course has arrived. These are the Sci Fi smoked wings. They're hoisin glazed smoked chicken wings served with house-made sesame red cabbage slaw. If there was ever a time that I wished for fried pickles, it would be right in this exact moment. Last time I dined at Sci Fi was when they kind of brought out a new menu, and these wings were new on the menu, and I did not like them at all. I actually think I rated them as one of the worst things I ate in Disney World in 2022, and they look very similar to when I first had them. I remember my main issue with them is that they were so tiny and so overly sauced and so not crispy at all. And once again, there is so much sauce on these wings. It's actually not even looking good to me at all. At least they're bigger than last time, I will say that. I think there's one more than there used to be. They used to serve 4 per order for $15, and that was crazy. So it looks like we're working with 5 wings now, but still so much sauce. We'll give them a fair shot. I hope they're better than last time. Short answer, no. And these are so saucy, and they don't give you any wet naps, so you need water from your cup of water to kind of wipe your hands clear of that really horrible sauce. I hate to say it, but these still stand the test of time. These have to be some of the worst chicken wings I've ever had. The sauce is so... I like hoisin sauce, but it is so hoisin and ginger forward. It's really, really not good at all. The wings are soggy. You can just they're just not the best of quality. I will give it to them this time though, because they stepped up the size of the wings, so at least they're not like, I remember last time I got them and I swear to God, like it was one bite of chicken. So these are actually decent sized wings, but it's just the sauce and the cook. I know they're smoked, so they're not fried and they're not gonna be super crispy. They still gotta have something so they're not like gooey and the outside isn't gummy. I don't know. These are not good wings, and I would never order these willingly. Well, good thing our entree has come out, because I am still hungry and I don't think I'm going to be able to eat any more of those wings. It looks like my server went with the feature film burger. This burger has pastrami, lettuce, tomato, and a Carolina mustard barbecue sauce for $25. It is served with a side of fries. Now, you are able to upgrade the side to onion rings, but I just went with how it comes. So let's try one of these fries. I'm not like the biggest fan of thick cut fries as it is, and these are so thick and mushy and not crispy. There's also next to no salt on these fries at all. Tastes like I'm just eating a brick of potato. These aren't it. Will this burger, though, be the saving grace of this meal? Let's find out. And this is a gigantic burger. I don't know how I'm going to eat this. I pretty much only got tomato and bun in that bite, so let's try another one. Let's see if the mustard sauce can make it a little better. My last attempt. Let's dip some of this pastrami in the mustard and see how this is on its own. I like the Carolina mustard barbecue sauce. It has a really good spice to it almost. The pastrami isn't my favorite on its own, and I don't like this burger. I don't want to say it too loud because I don't want to offend anyone, but I am not a fan. The burger patty is way too thick. The slice of tomato on here is actually a really nice slice of tomato. It looks like a really fresh tomato. However, the slice of tomato is literally as thick as the bottom bun. It's just way too much on this burger. Do you see what I mean? Like, the tomato is literally the same size as the bottom bun. Honestly, the tomato might be the exact same size as the burger patty too. The burgers over at Cosmic Rays in Magic Kingdom are better than the burger that I just ate here. So let's hope that the dessert is good. For dessert, we have the hot fudge sundae. This has vanilla ice cream with hot fudge, whipped cream, and a cherry for $8.75. While I am not expecting anything revolutionary here, I do think this will most likely be the best part of the meal, unfortunately. Yep, that's a hot fudge sundae. Well, that is going to do it for us at the Sci Fi Dine In. Honestly, thank God. I don't think I want to eat anything else from that restaurant for a very long time. But let's kind of unpack it all. Now, I have such mixed thoughts on this restaurant, as I'm sure a lot of other Disney fans like you guys do. And the reason for that is because the theming and the interior and the vibe is so fantastic. I love going in there. It's so fun. It's so different. It's so unique. However, to be quite frank, the food sucks. And I'm sorry, but there is honestly no other way to put it. The food there is not good at all. And you'd always hear people say, oh, you just go there, you get a burger. But honestly, my burger was not even good. I would rather eat a burger from Cosmic Rays, like I said, or the ABC commissary right next door. Just the regular basic Disney burgers are unfortunately better, which is honestly such a shame because the restaurant is so good. It deserves so much more. And there's so many places at Disney World that like have redone their burgers throughout the years. Tiffin just got an amazing burger. Obviously Steakhouse 71 opened a couple of years ago with the stack burger, and it's amazing. They're kind of experimenting with these new different types of burgers. And I think Sci-Fi deserves some of that love. I don't know why they can't just like revamp the menu to have some kind of like actually good burger. And honestly guys, I don't even want to talk about the wings. They were another level of awful. I wish they weren't out of the fried pickles because maybe that would have been the one thing that was kind of good and saving it. But unfortunately the most popular appetizer, yeah, they were out of, so we were stuck with those wings, if you want to call them that. I just wish they'd show this place some love with a new, completely revamped menu. It really, really needs it because I honestly can say that I think Sci-Fi has maybe the worst food out of any sit-down restaurant at Disney World. And unfortunately, they may have the best theming out of any Disney restaurant. So it's kind of like a compromise. Do you want the good theming and horrible food, or do you want a little bit of both? But if you're not going there for the theming, just don't go. All right, well, time for our Sci-Fi rankings for food. I'm going with a 1. I was teetering between a 0 and a 1. I decided to be nice and give it 1 point. But the food there is honestly inexcusable. For service, we're going a 7. My server was really, really great, really attentive. There was a lot of theme language used. They called me a hitchhiker because I joined another group at the kind of car that I was in, so I was the hitchhiker. I also liked how on the receipt, it's a very small detail, but they kind of put something that says like parking violation on it. A couple little small terms that are used, but it's just not on the level of the service at prime time. Prime time is just so unique. And Sci-Fi is good service, don't get me wrong, but just not on that kind of level of theming, which I guess brings me to my final category, which is theming, and there's no doubt that Sci-Fi Dine In gets a 10 out of 10 for that. The theming is like no other. Sitting in the cars, getting to watch the old little clips and films is very, very unique. I don't know if you could find another restaurant like that anywhere in the world. That gives us a grand total of 18 out of 30 for the Sci-Fi Dine In compared to 24 out of 30 for 50's Primetime. So if you ask me, where should you dine? My answer is 50's Primetime. I do want to hear from you guys though, so let me know down below in the comments what you think. What is the better restaurant, 50's Primetime or Sci-Fi? And let me know why. I'm curious to see what you guys do think. Shout out to all of my Patreon subscribers. I appreciate you all supporting the channel. And if you guys like more honest Disney food reviews like this one, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.